Okay, we're in the middle of the sugya of Ma'aser Sheni, right? We have a digression from Azav, a welcome digression, I might add, and we're on Daf Nun Dalid Amid Aleph. We're on Daf Nun Dalid Amid Aleph, and we saw Machloikis. Yes, we saw a shaila. We had a shaila. When you go ahead and figure out a chaimish, do you do it from milagav? That means you divide it by a fifth, or you do it milavar, that you're going to divide it by a quarter. And we said that you divide it by a quarter. The Gemara now is going to suggest it's machloikis tanoim. Kid tanoi. It says vayosef chamishisay alav, and you should add on its chaimesh sheyehu v'chaimshay chamisha. That it and its chaimesh should be 5. So how do you get 5? Obviously, you divide it by 4, right? And let's say it's 20, so it should be what 5, which is milabar. Divrei Rabbi Yoshia. Rabbi Yoshia Chamishisai chaimsha shel keren. The chaimish, the fifth of the keren. The keren's 20. You're going to take 5, divided, right? It's going to be divided by 5. It's going to be 4. So again, l'chayr it's a machloikis tanoim whether we go milgav or milabar. The first opinion being milabar, the second one being milagav. Iboilu chaimish ma'akev ve'ena ma'akev. Now we know that you're adding on to the Ma'aser Sheni. You're being paid there Ma'aser Sheni. The owner has to add a chaimish. If he doesn't add a chaimish, is he permitted to eat it? Right, chutz Yerushalayim. That's the shaila. Right, is he permitted to eat it? Chutz Yerushalayim. You have fruit that has Ma'aser Sheni on it. You want to eat it, so you take it. You take the kedusha and you put it on a coin. Okay, so you don't go ahead. Let's say now. It was in our scenario, you had $20 worth, and you only gave the 20, you didn't give the $24, which you should have given, right? The $25, which you should have given. You didn't give the $5. Is it ma'ak of you from eating the Ma'aser Sheni or not? Right? That's the Gemara Shaila. Bidalid parik. You went ahead and you did 4 by 4. No, exactly, you took 20 by 20 in our scenario. You gave that amount. And independently you added a chaimish, so the chaimish is not part of the actual payment. And if that's the case, we'll view the chaimish, it's not ma'akiv the achila. So the etzem pedia is the 20 in our scenario, and the chaimish you're just giving independently, and therefore it would not be ma'akiv you eating, because for all intents and purposes you transferred all of the kedusha of the Ma'aser Sheni onto the coins. Dilma arba v'chamisha parik v'chaimish ma'akiv. Maybe what in fact that it's an actual part of the actual pedia. When you go ahead and redeem it, right? The actual redemption is not only the 20, but what the additional 5 that's necessary also is part of the, and then it will be ma'akiv. That's a lamdish shaila. Amra vina tashma. Let's be poished the shaila. Hademai. Demai is the Maisa, we're chayish that Amam Ratzim, they take off Truma, but we're chayish that what? They don't take off Maisa. Ein chaimish, when you go ahead and you have Ma'aser Sheni, you're going to redeem it. The Mai, you don't add a chaimish, fellas. So you have $20 of the Mai, all you have to give is $20. You don't give what? You don't give a chaimish. The Ein loy beer, and the halacha of beer Ma'aser, the 3rd year and the 6th year, you go ahead and the Parshas Kisavai does not apply to the Mai. Right? Hakeren yeshlai. But what? Keren it has, that as long as you haven't been poidered, it's also to eat outside Yerushalayim. The din of Keren, that you have to be poidered, Tamai, you can't eat it until what? At least Yerushalayim. Okay? My timer, what's the reason? Keren, the ma'akiv b'daraisa. Keren, that if you're not poidered b'daraisa, is she b'darabanan, applies to Ma'aser d'Rabbanan. So in a scenario where you in our case, I had 20 and 5, right? So 20, which is the raisa, you definitely cannot eat it if you don't go ahead and be part of the 20. The Rabbanan also is a problem. The Mai, Chaimish the Loima Akiv b'daraisa, which will be Paishat Hashaila. Chaimish that if you don't give will not impede you from eating outside Yerushalayim if you don't add the Chaimish, but after you gave the 20. Less than b'darabanan, right? It's not b'darabanan. So let's go ahead, Bad, and be Paishat the Shaila. The fact that you don't have to add the Chaimish to the Keret to the Mai, it's because that chaimish is not ma'akiv, and we push that shaila. Good, guys are good, yeah. Leimukid Tanoi, let's suggest this is a machlokes Tanoim, whether the chaimish is ma'akiv or not. Nasin es a keren, he gave the keren, v'lei nasin es a chaimish, he didn't give the chaimish. Rebbe Eliezer, Omer yoichal, you could eat it outside Yerushalayim. If you're sure, Omer lo yoichal, you can't. So the you have a right after the machlokes Tanoim between Rebbe Eliezer ben Hurkinis and Rabbi Shua ben Chananya vis-a-vis whether the chaimish is ma'akiv or not. Omer Rebbe, he says Rebbe to be machriya. Near in Rebbe Eliezer b'Shabbos. On Shabbos, let's say you need food. You need food, and it's Shabbos, and you paida, you give the 20, but you don't give the 5. I would paskin that it's not ma'akiv, and you could eat the food. V'divrei Rabbi Yeshua b'chayil, and the words of Rabbi Yeshua during the week. So obviously Rabbi Eliezer always permits it, and Rabbi Yeshua never permits it. Good. Midama near in Rebbe Eliezer b'Shabbos mechlal de pligi afilu b'chayil. The Rebbe Eliezer argues during the week and says that that it's not ma'akiv. Midama near in Rebbe Yeshua b'chayil mechal de pligi afilu b'Shabbos that it is ma'akiv. My love, what's the svaras hamachlokes? My love, behos svara kamiflagi. The Rebbe Eliezer permits you to eat savar chaimish le ma'akiv. The chaimish is not ma'akiv. Rabbi Yeshua, who does not permit you to eat savar chaimish ma'akiv, would hold that the adding the chaimish would be ma'akiv. So l'chayr it's a machlokes tanoim. So Amrav Papa says a Papa loy. Kol yalma chaimish le ma'akiv. Everyone says the chaimish is not ma'akiv. So what's pshat therefore in Rabbi Yeshua? Rabbi Yeshua is shver. Why doesn't let you eat? If we let you go ahead and get away with it now, right? That if you don't do it, you may never do it. In other words, the chaimish is not ma'akiv. Do you have to eat a chaimish? Absolutely. So I'm worried the following: if I let you get away once by not eating the chaimish, you may habitually start doing it. So Rabbi Eliezer who says that you could eat it, even though it's easy, chaimish is not ma'akiv, and not only is not ma'akiv, I'm not worried if I let you do it now that you'll stop the whole chaimish business in the first place. Where Rabbi Yeshua says, no, I know it's not ma'akiv, and I know really you should be able to eat a chutz Yerushalayim, but if I let you go ahead and get away with it now, my high, maybe down the line, you'll never eat a chaimish in the first place. So that's the concern. Rabbi Yeshua is of the opinion v'chayish for what? For pshia, that you won't do it, you won't do the chaimish anymore. And the other one says we're not chayish b'shiyusa. Rabbi Yochanan, hakol moedim behegdish shechilul. Everyone's moed the hegdish that you went ahead and you were paid it. Hayol v'gizbar and toiv and I say b'shuk. In other words, let's say you didn't give the chaimish by hegdish. I have $20 worth of hegdish, and so I really have to go ahead and give 25. I only give 20. Is it mechulul? Everyone's moed that it is. What's our concern? That what you're going to pay shea and not give it? The gizba is going to get on your case, and the gizba will come collect it. So there's nothing to worry about. It's guaranteed it's going to happen. So again, hakol moedim behegdish. Everyone's moedim behegdish shechilel without giving the chaimish. Hoyel v'gizbarin toiv ma'asai b'shuk. Since they're going to be toiveya that extra 5, right? No problem. Okay, it's no problem. Fred the Gemara who behegdish like pligi that they don't argue by hegdish. But Tanya, nasan esa keren v'lei nasan esa chaimish. If you give the principal and you don't give the chaimish, Rabbi Eliezer is of the opinion chilel. It's mechulul, and therefore you took up the kedusha. The chachamim ma'imrim loy chilel. It's not. So Amar Rebbe near in Divrei Rabbi Eliezer behegdish v'divrei chachamim b'maisa. Now, with the Amar near in Divrei Rabbi Eliezer behegdish mechal de pligi, right? Afilu b'maisa that is mechulul. With the Amar near in Divrei chachamim b'maisa mechal de enu pligi afilu behegdish. So therefore, the chayim even by hegdish is a machlokes whether it's mechulul or not. You wanted to say across the board everyone admits to it. You see, it's not true. You just told me what, guys? Hakol moedim by hegdish, that meaning hakol Rebbe Eliezer, Rebbe Yeshua moedah. You see, it's not true. You see, they're not moedah. So Rabbi Yochanan's statement makes no sense. You want to learn Rabbi Yochanan's statement? Hachi itmar. Rabbi Yochanan hakol moedim say Rebbe Eliezer, Rebbe Yeshua b'Shabbos behegdish echilel. Even though Rebbe Yeshua argues by Maisa and he says Maisa on Shabbos where it would be ma'akiv because we're chayish l'pshia. When it comes to hegdish on Shabbos, right? We'll let you go ahead and not give the chaimish. That's the chiddush. Chada d'chsiv v'karas l'Shabbos einig. Once it says you call Shabbos einig, if you won't have food, fellas, if you won't have food, correct? You won't have food. It's a problem. It's a problem. So therefore, to avoid not being hungry on Shabbos, we'll let you go ahead and get away without giving the chaimish. Second reason, you're not going to get away with it long because as soon as Shabbos is over, what's going to happen? The gizber is going to come and make a claim from you, b'shuk. So therefore, that's Rabbi Yochanan's statement. So not that everyone agrees by hegdish that it's mechulo. It's not true. Everyone agrees hegdish on Shabbos is mechulo because the karasel Shabbos einig, I call Shabbos einig, I should have food available, and in addition, the guy from the street is going to come. Ignite the fire. It's Hari Omru. Okay, now this is it's a very interesting Gemara, guys. We're going to go through all the chaimish from different places in the Torah. Chaimish by Hegdish, by Truma. We had a chaimish if you read it by Maisa. All this by Gezel, guys. By Gezel, we had Ashim Gazelis, correct? You went ahead. A guy makes a claim from you, and you swear that you don't have it. You admit the truth. You have to pay Karen, chaimish, and Ashim Gazelis. So there are various topics where the chaimish comes into play. And we're going to go ahead and visit all of them. Now, Amarai Bar Chama, Hari Amru, Hegdish Einim Mischalel ala Karka. Hegdish is not Mischalel on Karka. If you want to take the Kedusha of Hegdish off, you can't go ahead and put it on Karka. The Rachmana Amar, because the Torah says, V'nasan HaKesef, and you'll give money. Remember this. This is Rabbi Yochanan's proof that Kesef is Koina. Right? This is Rabbi Yochanan's proof that's Kesef is Koina. We had Machloikas Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish whether Kesef makes the kinyan or not. This was Rabbi Yochanan's proof. V'nasan HaKesef v'kam loy, chom shoy mahu sheyischal al karka. So is it different? Is the halacha regarding being meschalel the chaimish different? In other words, when it comes to, in our case, 25, so 20 has to be on a coin. Can the additional 5 be on karka? Does it have the same din or not? Truma, einim mishtalemes elim achulin. Fellas, if a person eats, this is a potpourri of different halachas. If you eat truma b'shoigeg, you have to pay back chulin. You have to pay produce that's chulin. You don't pay him back truma. You pay him back produce that's chulin. What about the chaimish? Can you pay the chaimish with cash? Or no, you have to give produce as well. So says the Gemara. Okay, so we're holding Moshe 2 lines up. I'll catch up. 3 lines up. Truma, ein mishtalim eshesim min achulin, but it gets right. 2 lines up. Truma only you can collect truma if you eat b'shoigeg. You have to pay keren v'chaimish. The keren can only be paid with chulin. The Rachmana Amar v'nasan l'koyin esa kodesh, and you should give the koyin kodesh. What does that mean? Dava haroyeliyas kodesh, something that could be kodesh. That's what you give him. Chum shemahu sheistalin shaloi min achulin. What about the chaimish? So we have 2 shilas, for example. Vis-a-vis what? Being poida, could you be poida the chaimish on karka? We know that hegdish is only on money. A second din, we know truma, if you eat it b'shoigeg, you have to pay keren b'chaimish. The keren has to be from chulin to produce. What about the chaimish? In other words, the chaimish, this is like based upon the shiloh we began in the first place. Is it an independent tashlumin, or guf is it part of the pidyon itself? If it's part of the pidyon itself, it should have the same halacha. If it's independent of that, then it should have the same halacha. I think all of this Gemara is totally in that beginning that we began the daf with today. Maisa ein mischalo al asimon. Again, an asimon what's an asimon? It's a slug. It doesn't have its surah. We know that you can't go ahead and be poid on a slug. The Rachmana Amar, because the Torah says V'tzarta kesef b'yadcha. When it says v'tzarta, literally v'tzarta means you should go ahead and hold in your hand. But we darshan the rabbis called davashish tsura. Anything that has sarta has a tsura, as opposed to asimon, which is a blank. It's a blank, ready to be minted, but it's a blank. And then meilawa, you can't be paida. What about a chaimish? Is it different or not? So we have a shaila by hegdish, a shaila by truma, and a shaila by maisel. All those three have a chaimish. Are the halachas that apply to the keren apply to the chaimish as well? That's the shaila. So iskalgal milsa. This shaila was being miskalgal around the base medrash. It was a gezunta shaila that was going around the base medrash, and umatul kamei the Rava, and it came in front of Rava. And Amalahu, you know what Rava told them? Amakra, the Torah says, Allah on this, it says, the rabbis have a bunch of psukim over here, right? That it says by Chaim Shai, Kimaisai. So that means that the Chaimish is Kimaisai, the same din as Keren. So by Kegdish, you would not be able to use Karka for the Chaimish. By Truma, you would not be able to pay cash, you'd have to pay Chulin produce. And by Maisa, you would not be able to use an asimon. It has the same din as the keren. That's what we're being placed. Shmak. Amar Ravina, says Ravina, Afana Nami Tanina, I also have a Tanoic proof to you, Rava. You, Rava, I have a Tanoic proof to you. Hagoiniv Truma, someone is a Ganif, we know a Ganif pays Kefel, he doesn't eat it. So he stole Truma, he was unaware it's Truma. So why does he pay? Right, he didn't eat it. Mishalim Tishnami Kefel Demei Truma. He pays Kefel Demei Truma. Now Truma is cheaper, fellas, than Chulin, because Truma, the supply and demand. There's a large supply of it, and the demand is much smaller because of the Kahanim. So he's going to pay what Kefel Karen based upon what Demei Truma rather than Demei Chulin. Achla. What happens if he eats it? So he has a double negative over here, guys. He stole it, which creates a chiyuv of kefel, and he ate it, which creates a chiyuv of keren v'choimish. He ate it b'shoigeg. So this guy is a double loser. One, that he stole it, and two, he ate it b'shoigeg. So now, mishalem shnei karonim. He pays two karonim. He pays two kerens. Good. One for stealing and one for eating. Now, v'choimish shnei karonim v'choimish. He pays two keren and one chaimish. Keren v'chaimish min achulin. The keren and the chaimish come from chulin. That's Uriah, fellas, right? That's Uriah. The keren for eating it and the chaimish that you're eating on comes min achulin, comes from the produce, correct? Comes from produce. There's Uriah that it has the same halacha as the keren. The keren the mate truma, and the second keren he's going to pay the mate truma, and this is for the kefel. This is for the geneva. Shmamina chaim sheikemaisai. By the fact that he's paying a keren and chaimish from chulin and not chaimish from the mate truma is a raya that has the same din. Shmamina, you have a good raya. Okay, now we have a bunch of shilas and very similar shilas along the way. Amarava. This is by Asham Gazelis. Amarava Gabe Gezel, regarding if you stole anything, let's say Teshumas Yad, Pikodin, Aveda, we had Vayikra. Good, you stole it. Guy says, where is it? You say, I don't know. You swear to that fact, then you admit that you stole it. The halacha is you're going to bring what? Pay care of a chaimish to bring a carbon asham. Now, that chaimish, Gezel Ksiv, the chamishisav, that's lashon plural, guys. It does not have a chamishisoy, guys. Chamishisoy means chamishisav means it's trumois. It's maisrois. Yosef Olav. Vitran, we had this in Baba Kama. Noisin Larsa Keren, Vinishbalei ala chaimish. If he goes ahead, gives the Keren, and then he, guess what? He denies the chaimish. And then he swears to the fact and he admits it again. So how you say Moisef chaimish al chaimish. In other words, and he'll continue to do this, right? He admits the Keren, he has to pay the chaimish, he denies the chaimish, now he has to do it again. He denies the chaimish again. You'll continue doing it until the chaimish becomes what? Less than a shava pruta. So you see, you're moisev a chaimish ala chaimish. V'nishbalei ala chaimish, how he said moisev a chaimish ala chaimish. Actually, Yismayit a Keren until the Keren mat is below the shava pruta. That's by Gezel. Gabe truma ksiv Ish ki yoichal kodesh b'shgaga, a person who eats kodesh, this is truma b'shoigeg. The Yosef chamishisay alav, he's going to add its chaimish. V'tanan ha'oichel truma b'shoigeg b'shalim keren b'chaimish. Now, guys, that chaimish gets a din of, if you now that gets a din of what, and it chulin becomes truma. That also has a din of truma. Echad oichel, someone eats it. V'echad shoyse, someone who drinks it. Echad asach, someone uses it if it's oil to anoint themselves. Echad truma tahira, whether it's tahar. V'echad truma tameya. Mishalim chumsha. The chumsha, the chumsha. You're going to pay chaimish and a chaimish of a chaimish. So if you eat the chaimish, you're going to again pay a keren b'chaimish. Okay. So in both these cases of gezel and truma, the chaimish is still viable to create another chaimish. Yes, guys, all good? Yeah. Be'ilu gabi meiser. Let's say you go ahead and by meiser, loy michtav ksiv. It doesn't say anything about chamishi soy or chamishi soy. Loy misnatana. What's the halacha by Maisa if you're mechalom? What's the halacha if you're chayes of a chil al chaimish? If you go again chil al chaimish, is there a din of adding a chaimish, guys? If I'm mechal the chaimish, do I have to do it again? Gabi hegdish ksiv. So we don't know about Maisa. Gabi hegdish ksiv. V'ma magdish yigoles beisoy. V'yosef chamishis kesef erkecha. V'tanan apoides a hegdish. Someone who redeems hegdish. Moisav chaimish, he has to go ahead. He has a chaimish. Chumsha tanan, chumsha loy tanan. So what's the din? So by Maisa we don't know what the din is, and by hegdish we don't know what the din is. Whether you add a chaimish to a chaimish. Now, gabi truma, where we do know, guys, by truma, which we do know, you add a chaimish to a chaimish. Ksiv, it says v'yosef gabi kodesh nami haksiv v'yosef. So in other words, you have the vav, maybe the extra vav. So just like the vav by truma tells me you have to add a chaimish, you have to, if you eat a chaimish, you're going to add a chaimish and vaita. Hu hadin by hegdish. If you're mechal hegdish, you mechal the chaimish, you're going to have to go ahead and add on to that as well. Okay? Because I can learn it from truma. Dilma, perhaps that's not the deciding factor by truma why you pay a chaimish to a chaimish. Gabi truma ksiv v'yosef and ish aklisis leila vav to v'yosef. You take the vav of v'yasaf, v'shodus le'al chamishi soy, and you throw it on the word chamishi soy. Rashi brings, guys, if you're going to say chamishi soy, you're going to have two vavs at the end. You don't have words that say two vavs, but it comes chamishi sov. That becomes it becomes plural. So since it becomes plural, you'll add a chaimish to a chaimish. So maybe it's not the vav itself that causes the chaimish l'chaimish. Maybe it's the fact we're adding the word of the vav to the end of the word chamishi soy, which makes it chamishi sav, and therefore havilei chamishi sav, and therefore you would add a chaimish to a chaimish. You would gabe hegdish kasiv v'yosef chamishis. It doesn't say chamishi soy; it says chamishis. So if you add a vav, afagav the chishakos leil vav the v'yosaf v'shados leil chamishis. If you can go ahead and throw it there, soif havilei chamishi soy, it's chamishi soy. So here's the Gemara Shaila. I know that truma, that if you're going to go ahead and eat the chaimish, that chaimish is going to cause you to pay another keren v'chaimish. What's the din by hegdish? If you go ahead and mechal hegdish, mechal chaimish, you have to add the chaimish and the chilul of the chaimish. You have to add. If it's just the vav by truma that does the job, well, I have that vav by hegdish as well. And therefore, hegdish also, if you mechal the chaimish, you'd have to add a chaimish. Or no, maybe by hegdish, you know what, by truma, the reason why that vav makes it, not because the vav of Vayasav, I'm taking that vav and putting it as an appendix or a suffix to the word chamishi sav. That word now becomes chamishi sav, which is plural. So therefore, you're going to add a chaimish on a chaimish. On the other hand, by truma, it says chamishis. So therefore, even if you add the vav, it's not going to add on. So that's the question. Okay, it's a very interesting question, right? Interesting Gemara. Read the Gemara typically the Havile Hegdish Sheni. Let's be poishit that it's Hegdish Sheni. Let's see Rashi on this, where the lines get wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines down. Typically, my kami boile l'rava. What's Rav Shaila by Hegdish? If you're going to go ahead and add what a chaimish, after you mechalal it, you're going to add another chaimish. Typically, the mchazav chilul es chaimish. If you go ahead and you mechalel the chaimish, guys, you had something that was hegdish, right? What did you do? You had 20 in our case. You had 20. You paid 25. Now that money's hegdish. You're not going to be mechalel that what? That chaimish. That chaimish is not hegdish rishon. That chaimish is hegdish sheni. Correct? The second chaimish it's going off not from the original kedusha. It's a second. It's like second base, not first base. Good. The chilas of chaimish harishon ain't ma'asav chaimish. You should be ma'asav chaimish. Why? Da'abele hegdish sheni, because that chaimish that you mechalal is hegdish sheni. Afilu chazav b'chil keren atzmai. Even if you mechalal the keren shehifis tachas harishon ain't ma'asav chaimish. Guys, if you go ahead, the following. Here you have hegdish. $20 is hegdish, $5 is hegdish. What's a shaila? Now, if I'm mechalel that chaimish, you have to add another chaimish on that? Says the Gemara, even if you be mechalel the keren, you wouldn't have to add a chaimish. Why? Because it's hegdish sheni. It's not the original. The original hegdish is the object. This hegdish is what is the one that you made. Now you're using it a second time. So l'chayra, what's Ravish shaila in the first place? It doesn't even begin. The shaila doesn't even begin. That's what the Gemara shaila. This question is. Typically, they have what that is hegdish sheni. Rabbi Shua ben Levi ben Levi is of the opinion. I hegdish rishon ma'asav chaimish. The first time you paida, you had a chaimish. Al hegdish sheni. The second time you kaidish, hey ma'asav chaimish. So your whole shaila is a moot point because you're doing it a second time. Chaimish ketchilas hegdish dami. Chaimish is like the beginning of hegdish. If you do Chaimish is considered the beginning of hegdish, and since Chaimish is the beginning of hegdish, then therefore you have a shaila whether you mechalel Chaimish, do you have to add a Chaimish? My havilo, what's the bottom line? Amrav Daf Yomi mishmei dabayu omakra the Yosef chamishisav kesef erkacha makish chaim shol lekesef. We're going to make a hekesh between Chaimish lekesef arkai. Ma kesef arkai ma'asav Chaimish, just like the original kesef of its worth, you can add a Chaimish. Af kesef chaimish nami, ma'asav chaimish. Shotu kesef nami, you'll add a chaimish. So even if you mechalel hegdish the second time, similar to truma, you'd have to add a chaimish. I'll stop over here.